right, guys, welcome back. Joining us in studio right now, we have Patrick and Michael, and I'm so excited that you guys are both here because we're talking about a lot right now. But first, I want to talk about Celtic Studios. What is this? Because it's in Louisiana's backyard, and I had no idea something like this existed.
Well, sure. It's the largest design-built studio in the Gulf South. I mean, to this day, you have to go as far east as Atlanta to find a bigger studio. You have to go as far west as Albuquerque. So yeah, right here in our backyard, and we've had huge films, everything from Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn Parts 1 and 2 to Oblivion with Tom Cruise.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's hosted some big shows, everything from National Treasure, the Disney show.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately things are a little slow right now because there's a potential for a strike again this summer, and so not a lot's going on right now. But yeah, that's where I met this gentleman who also has an office at Celtic Studios.
Okay, so what's your role in all of this?
What we're talking about today, well, real quick, I ended up being at Celtic Studio because I met Patrick. I was in Los Angeles for 27 years. I graduated from LSU in '88 and got in the movie business, was a stuntman for years, transitioned into an action actor after I doubled Bobby Boucher in Waterboy, and then I jumped into action acting, and I moved back, and I met Patrick because I wanted to be more of a local hire, better quality of life, and not live in California anymore. And Patrick introduced me to Celtic, and then I got an office there in 2013.
I think it's awesome that we have something like this in our own backyard. And you were mentioning too that you graduated from LSU, you got into acting, and that kind of brings us to the topic today. NIL deals are apparent, they're here, they're happening. So how can this be something that those college athletes kind of take advantage of?
Yeah, well, I'll give you just a little bit of the history. You know, when NIL came out just a few years ago, in fact, there was kind of an all-hands-on-deck meeting that they had at LSU because it seemed like, maybe we're behind the curve with this thing. It's because Texas A&M had signed 8 5-star athletes to their football team. Now, normally you only get 1, maybe 2, but they had signed 8. And so it's like, this community needs to step up and figure out how do we compete with Texas and Alabama and everybody. And that's where this idea actually was born. I was sitting there and I said, well, you know, now it's actually legal, thanks to name, image, likeness, to put student athletes in films and TV shows, which we have a lot in Louisiana. That's one of the things that we do best, right? Texas doesn't have near the film industry that we do. Alabama doesn't have near the film industry either. Neither does Mississippi or Arkansas or your Florida, right? So, we do have to worry about Georgia. Georgia has a huge film industry, and obviously California with USC and UCLA. So the idea was like, well, maybe we need to be first to market with this, or first with this idea. As we started doing little things, they had a couple of other NILSCU events, and one had the actual athletes there. There's a gentleman named Brent Caballero, and he has a company called Caballero Casting. I think it's caballerocasting.com if anybody's interested. But he has cast more Louisiana residents and more films that have shot in Louisiana than anybody in history. Right?
Wow.
And so we brought him to one of these NIL events, and he was the most popular kid there. All the athletes would love to be like the original LSU athlete turned actor, Michael Papajohn, and find themselves in a film or a TV show. And so this has sort of become an organized effort now because we realize that there is nobody better at teaching and coaching and getting these kind of green athletes ready to nail an audition than this man right here.
And so tell us about, like, from your experience, what advice can you offer to these athletes that might realize, like, hey, I want to be a stuntman one day. I might want to do this.
Well, in acting, it's how to be authentic in imaginary circumstances, but also now today with social media is really authenticity and how to be authentic on camera, building your brand. And when Patrick came to me about me coaching them, getting ready for an audition, which since the pandemic, you now tape auditions, and that's why this makes this possible. You don't have to drive to New Orleans and meet a casting director and go in the office and audition. You have it's in your control of taping an audition and I feel very confident in coaching them to be authentic in those imaginary circumstances, and then submitting a tape to Brent and the casting director gives them an opportunity. But if you get an LSU athlete in front of a trailer, takes a picture of himself, a selfie, and says, hey, you may recognize me from the football field, but watch Netflix, you can't put a money value on that.
Yeah, you can't. And so if there's athletes out there that are watching this, you're like, this might be something I want to get into. We are almost out of time. Is there a way that they can contact you or visit Celtic Studios? Or do you guys have any pop-up events going on?
Of course. Well, I mean, again, you can always get in touch with Coach Papajohn, as we call him. You can tell him your email address.
Yeah, you go to michaelpapajohn.com.
Okay.
And also, athlete to entertainment is a great transition. Athletes just take direction very well because they've been coached their whole life. So I believe there's athlete, artist to entertainment. And I'm glad Patrick thought of this. I think it's a great idea. And thanks for having us.
Of course. I think it's great that you guys are doing this because it just gives another avenue for those athletes post-college.
Right.
I think this is awesome.
He bleeds purple and gold, but I'm sure he'd take on some UL Raging Cajuns.
I mean, hey, vermilion and white might look good on you.
Yeah. Hey, I love Louisiana, but also even the southeast of movie business is interesting, and being in front of camera, and then, like I said, the social media thing is about being authentic, and I love coaching that also.
Well, I appreciate you both for taking the time to hang out with us. If you at home want to learn more, head to our website, kadn.com. Everything you need is going to be right there. We'll be right back after this.